People are asking whether Emmanuel Lutheran Church is going to be open during the governor's ban on public gatherings. And the answer is yes. And the reason is, just as we go to the grocery store or the pharmacy to take care of our bodies, we need to come to church and be in prayer to take care of our souls. However, that doesn't mean that I, as your pastor, expect everyone to gather on a Sunday morning. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about who should stay home and how we'll gather in the days to come. Here are folks who should be staying home. If you take your temperature and it's 100 or over, you should stay home. You might be sick. If you're coughing and sneezing, if someone in your household is coughing and sneezing a lot, that's a reason to stay home, because you don't want to share their germs and make other people sick. If you have an underlying condition, if you've had a recent operation or something like that that would put you at greater risk, stay home. You can pray at home during these days. You should also take your age into consideration, because we know that this virus is more dangerous to the elderly. I'm going to explain a few of the safety measures we're taking during this crisis. And the first is using hand sanitizer. At each of the doors at Emmanuel, there will be hand sanitizer. Please wash in and wash out so that you're keeping your germs to yourself and not sharing them with anybody else. One of the key things for being safe during this time is to practice what's called social distancing. And the recommended distance is 6 feet. And an easy way to measure that is to reach out your arm and have another person reach out their arm, or imagine them reaching out their arm. That's going to give you about a 6 foot distance and give you a sense of how far that social distancing is. One of the things I've done here in the east entrance is put red markers of tape 6 feet apart from one another on the stairwell here. That way you can easily tell what that 6 foot distance is. And if you see somebody going up the stairs, wait a second for them to go up a little bit further so that you're not following them too closely. As you enter the sanctuary, be sure that you're not hanging out to visit with people in the doorways. You don't want to block other people's ability to enter in. So make your way in and find a pew. I'll talk with you in a minute about which places to sit. But I want you to notice here that these pews along the aisle, I have marked them off and it says, do not sit here, okay? You'll be in the way if you sit here. Also notice on the floor that there are pieces of tape down every 6 feet, and that'll help you see the social distancing and measure how to stay apart from one another. When you select a pew, I want you to notice that on the ends of pews, there's a piece of tape and it says sit. And that means you can sit on that end of the pew, but you don't want to sit too close to the other people. The pews, if you skip a pew, it's about 6 feet apart, so it keeps that social distancing for us. Notice Susan is sitting down on this end of this pew. If I was going to sit down, I wouldn't sit here. I'd sit here, and our next visitors would sit up a pew from me. And that's going to help us keep that social distancing. Every one of the pews has been marked with that piece of tape that says sit, so you know how to keep that social distancing. Remember not to shake hands, don't hug, don't even bump elbows. Let's keep those 6 foot distances between us. And when I say between us, I mean you can be around members of your immediate household because you live with them, right? You're going to be around them anyway. But if the person is outside of your household, keep that 6 foot distance away and keep these practices so that we stay safe. If you're going to sneeze or cough for some reason, the best thing to do is go right in your elbow with a sneeze or a cough, so that muffles it down so that you're not sharing any bacteria or germs or whatever with the people that are closer to you. Please remember that we've changed our service times in order to accommodate the social distancing. So we still have our regular 8 o'clock service, and those who usually come to 8 o'clock come to 8. We also are going to be having services at 9:15, and if your last name begins with A through F, I invite you to come at that hour. You don't have to, but I invite you to consider that. We're trying to keep down the numbers that we have in each service. And then if your last name begins with G to P, then 10:30 service, and then we're going to also have a noon service for R through Z, and these are recommended service times for you to come based on the first letter in your last name. That's going to help us keep and practice that social distancing so we don't have a huge crowd in one of our services. We want to honor that governor's request to have 50 and under. Also, know that before and after services, we have volunteers who are taking wet wipes and are wiping down things like the handrails, the backs of pews where people will lean, those kinds of things to make sure that those surfaces are clean for the next group coming in. Remember, if you're sick or if someone in your household is sick, practice that social distancing by staying home. Remain in the word and the prayer, right? Even though we're not all gathering together, we're still observing God's third commandment. Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. Be in the word, be in prayer. Also remember that we're in the Lenten season and have those midweek prayers a part of your practice. If you are gathering, respect your fellow Christians by practicing the social distancing. If we use these measures, we should be very safe, just as safe as you would be for going to the grocery store or the pharmacy. I even found out this morning that the garden nurseries are still open. So if they can be open, certainly the church can be open, and with these measures, we can be safe. Remember that the Lord is with you. The name of our church is Emmanuel. God is with us. He's watching over us and keeping us through these difficult times. God bless.